Hello, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we will be discussing about the module that is drinking water standards, and the learning objectives are: what are drinking water standards, importance of setting standards, variation in standards from country to country, differentiate between acceptability and permissible limits of water standards, applicability of water standards. So let's discuss about the water quality. Water is an essential component of life. According to water quality, water is physical, chemical and biological characteristics which is measured, and its requirements are different for different components. For drinking purposes it's different, and requirement for non-drinking purposes it's different. When it is the concern of drinking water quality, then the standards should be highly specific and it should be complied. Drinking water quality standards characterize the maximal level of concentration of a substance in water which will have significant risk of health over a lifetime of consumption. Drinking water quality standards prescribes the requirements, the test methods, the sampling procedures and the qualitative parameters. Water quantity standards can be narrative and it can be numeric. Numeric means maximum permitted pollutant concentrations level in water, and narrative means criteria for describing the condition of a water. So now let's discussing the variations in drinking water standards. Drinking water standards are same to all over the world? No, not at all. Universally, there are no universally recognized and acceptable international standards for drinking water. It varies country to country, considering the various aspects like practical attainability, cost of compliance, local conditions and public needs, etc. First of all, World Health Organization published the data on drinking water standards in 1983, and World Health Organization publishes the guidelines for setting of drinking water standards. In Europe, there is European Union. In Europe, European Drinking Water Directive set the standards. In US, United States Environmental Protection Agency set the standards, and in China, Ministry of Environmental Protection in 2002, that is under specification GB 3838-2002 and type 2. And in India, Bureau of Indian Standards under the specification IS 10500 sets the drinking water standards. Now let's come to standard setting process. Standard setting process moves under two stages. First stage is scientific or risk assessment stage. It includes hazard identification, dose response assessment, exposure assessment and risk characterization. So hazard identification includes determination of whether an agent can cause an adverse effect in humans. Next, dose response assessment includes the determination of the quantitative relationship between the dose and the incidence of adverse health effect. Exposure assessment says the estimation of level of an agent to which various individuals or populations are exposed. And the risk characterization estimate the incidence and severity of the adverse effects that are liable to occur in a population due to actual or predicted exposures. Now we come to second stage. Second stage is political and administrative stage. It includes determination of acceptable risk, determination of public to be protected, choice of control technology, legislation or standards and economics. So for setting the standards, there are various priorities. According to Bureau of Indian Standards, the first priority is accessibility of water supply to consumers. Second priority according to them is control the microbiological qualities of the water supply. And third priority is control the toxic chemicals in water supply. And last, fourth one is aesthetics. That means there should be no color, no odor and no taste in drinking water. Now let's come to requirements. The requirements for the drinking water standard. In India, Bureau of Indian Standard, that is BIS, in India, Bureau of Indian Standard has set specification under IS 10500 that drinking water shall comply with various requirements having parameters concerning physical parameters, general parameters, pesticide residual limits, toxic limits, radioactivity limits, bacteriological examinations, virological examination and biological examination. And all these parameters are categorized under two different limits, that is desirable limits and permissible limits. Desirable limits says that the amount of specific element up to which that particular element can be present in water, and beyond that level it's not good for drinking. This limit needs to be implemented. That is desirable limit of water. And permissible limit is for that particular element amount up to which water can be consumed, provided that there is no alternate source of water is available. So now let's take up first parameter, that is physical parameters. Physical parameters includes the color, odor, taste, pH, etc. And for the color, the desirable limit is 5 Hisen units and permissible limit is 15 Hisen units. For TDS, 500 is desirable limit and 2000 is permissible limit. For pH, its range should be 6.5 to 8.5, and for total hardness, it should be 200 in desirable limit and 600 for permissible limit. And for turbidity, the required desirable limits are 1 and for permissible is 5 units. So now we come to general parameters. In general parameters, first of all we will take up the iron. Its desirable limit is 0.3 mg per liter and permissible limit is 1 mg per liter. And its treatments are, that means to remove iron from the water we can use oxidizing filters and green sand mechanical filters. Next is manganese. According to Bureau of Indian Standards, desirable limit is 0.1 mg per liter and permissible limit is 0.3 mg per liter. And the treatment methods to remove manganese from the water, we can use ion exchange technology, chlorination, oxidizing filter and green sand mechanical filters. In case of sulfates, the desirable limit is 200 mg per liter and permissible limit is 400 mg per liter. And to remove sulfates from the water, we can use ion exchange technology, distillation process and reverse osmosis process. In case of nitrates, the desirable limit is 45 mg per liter and permissible limit is 100 mg per liter. And the treatment methods we can use is ion exchange technology, distillation method and reverse osmosis method. Next is chloride. For chloride, desirable limit is 250 mg per liter and permissible limit is 1000 mg per liter. And the treatment for chlorine is reverse osmosis process, distillation and activated carbon method. In case of fluorine, the desirable limit is 1 mg per liter and permissible limit is 1.5 mg per liter. And the treatment is activated alumina method, distillation method, reverse osmosis process and ion exchange technology. In case of chromium, desirable limit is 0.05 mg per liter and permissible limit is also the same. And for treatment, ion exchange technology, reverse osmosis process and distillation process is used. For copper, desirable limit is 0.05 mg per liter and permissible limit is 1.5 mg per liter. And the treatment method used are ion exchange technology, reverse osmosis and distillation. For cyanide, desirable limit is 0.05 mg per liter and same is the permissible limit. And treatment for cyanide is ion exchange technology, reverse osmosis and chlorination. For lead, desirable limit is 0.05 mg per liter and same is the permissible limit. And treatment for lead is ion exchange, activated carbon method, reverse osmosis and distillation process. For mercury, desirable limit is 0.001 mg per liter and the treatment is reverse osmosis and distillation process. For zinc, desirable limit is 0.5 mg per liter and permissible limit is 15 mg per liter and treatment is ion exchange water softeners, reverse osmosis and distillation. Next is arsenic. For arsenic, desirable limit is 0.05 mg per liter, and for treatment method we can use activated alumina filtration, reverse osmosis, distillation, chemical precipitation and ion exchange technology with lime softening. Now we come to third category, that is parameter concerning toxic substances. These toxic substances are present in water and can cause various diseases in human beings. So their permissible limits and desirable limits are given. First of all, cadmium, the permissible limit is the 0.003 and desirable limit is, in case of cadmium, the desirable limit is 0.003 mg per liter. In case of cyanide, it's 0.05 mg per liter. In case of polychlorinated biphenyls, it's 0.0005 mg per liter. In case of PAH, that is polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, limit is 0.0001 mg per liter. In case of total chromium, it's 0.05 mg per liter. And in case of trihalomethanes, including bromoform, including dibromochloromethane and bromochloromethane, including chloroform, is 0.1 mg per liter. Let's discuss the various health effects of these chemical parameters. First of all, we'll discuss the TDS. If the value of TDS is beyond the 2000 mg per liter, then it can cause undesirable taste, gastrointestinal irritations, corrosions or incrustations. If the pH range is more than 8.5, then it can affect the mucous membrane. It can cause bitter taste, corrosions and also affects the aquatic life badly. Next is alkalinity. If the range is beyond 600 mg per liter, then boiled rice turns yellow, and same is the case with aquatic life. Next is hardness. If hardness level is beyond 600 mg per liter, then it can create poor lathering with soap, deterioration of the quality of clothes, skin irritation, boiled meat and food become poor in quality. Except this, some calcium, magnesium and iron, if they are beyond the limits, then it can cause poor lathering, deterioration of quality of clothes, scale formation and also incrustation in pipes and sulfate with laxatives. As the case of aluminium is concerned, if its value is more than 0.2 mg per liter, then it can cause neurological disorders and Alzheimer's disease. In case of copper, if its limit is more than 1.5 mg per liter, it can cause liver damage, mucosal irritation, renal damage and depression, and also restricts the growth of aquatic plants. If zinc is more in water, then it can cause astringent taste, gastrointestinal irritation, vomiting, dehydration, abdominal pain, nausea and dizziness. If ammonia is found in water, it indicates the pollution and growth of algae. In case of nitrate, its maximum unit is 100, and if it is beyond 100, then it can cause blue baby diseases and also promote the algal growth. In case of sulfates, its limit is 400, and if it is beyond this, then it can affect the taste, like it can cause laxative effect, gastrointestinal irritation. Now, in case of phosphates, if present in water, then it can cause algal growth. In case of arsenic, if its limit is beyond 0.05, then it can cause toxic effects, bioaccumulation, and it can affect central nervous system and produce carcinogenic effect. In case of mercury, it is highly toxic. It causes mania mater disease, neurological impairment, renal disturbances and mutagenic effects. In case of cadmium, if its limit is beyond 0.01 mg per liter, then it is very highly toxic. It can cause ittai disease, which is very painful rheumatic conditions. It can cause cardiovascular system. It can cause gastrointestinal upsets and hypertension. If lead is found in water, it can cause plumbism, tiredness abdominal discomfort, irritability, anemia, and can also cause bioaccumulation and neurological and motor development damages. In case of chromium, it can cause carcinogenic effect, ulcerations, respiratory problems and skin complaints. In case of pesticides, if its levels are beyond 0.001 mg per liter, it can affect central nervous system. And in case of detergent, if they are found in water, they cause undesirable foaming. Now we come to parameters concerning radioactive substances. In case of radioactive substances, alpha and beta emitters are to be considered. For alpha emitters, its desirable limit and permissible limit are same, that is 0.1 becquerel per liter. And in case of beta emitter, its desirable and permissible limit are same, that is 1 becquerel per liter. Now we come to pesticide residue limits. Here are given various pesticides and their residue limits. I will read out a few, that is 2 for D, its limit is 30 microgram per liter. Alacor, its limit is 20 microgram per liter. In case of Aldrin, it's 0.03 mg per liter. In atrazine, it's 2 microgram per liter. In case of DDT, it's 1 microgram per liter. In case of endosulfan, it is 0.4 microgram per liter. In case of ethion, it's 3 microgram per liter. In case of malathion, it's 190 microgram per liter. In case of monocophtus, it's 1 microgram per liter, and in case of phorate, it's 2 microgram per liter. And if these pesticide residues stands in water, they can cause various health impacts like cancer, birth defects, blood disorders, nervous disorders and genetic damages. Now we come to microbiological aspects of drinking water standards. It includes bacteriological examination, virological examination and biological examination. So for first bacteriological examination, the main concern is of total coliform bacteria and E. coli. In case of total coliform bacteria, 95% of the samples should not contain coliform in 100 per 100 ml of samples. And the treatment for total coliform bacteria is chlorination method, ultraviolet method, distillation method and iodination method. And the sources for this are livestock facilities, septic systems, manure lagoons, household wastewater and naturally occurring. In case of E. coli, there should not be any founding of E. coli in per 100 ml of sample. And for removing E. coli from water, the treatment should be chlorination, ultraviolet, distillation and iodination. In case of virological examination, drinking water should be free from any virus infection for men. MS2 phase, if found in water, that means viral contamination is there in drinking water. So virological examination should be take place by PCR method. 2 to 3 mg per liter of free chlorine for 1 hour is sufficient to inactivate the virus even in water that was originally polluted. To remove virus from the water, 2 to 3 mg per liter of free chlorine for 1 hour is sufficient to inactivate the virus. Now we come to biological examination. There should not be any biological organisms in drinking water, including protozoas like Histolica, Balantidium coli. In case of helminths, its infective form of roundworms, hookworms like Dracunculus medinensis and schistosomes. In case of higher organisms or free living organisms, fungi and alga should not be there in water because they interfere with water treatment technologies. These are some waterborne diseases created because of microbiological aspects of drinking water. These are giardiasis caused because of protozoans and cryptosporidiosis because of bacteria, and it's Campylobacterius because of bacteria, it's Shigellosis because of bacteria, viral gastroenteritis that is because of virus, and Cyclopiasis because of parasite. These are the comparison of some standards of Bureau of Indian Standards and World Health Organization. From the last slide, we can conclude that the standards set by WHO and the standards set by BIS, they are different because these standards vary country to country, and these variations are because of certain factors like cost of compliance, local conditions of that particular area, and also the specific agencies and also the practical attainability of that particular area. And these standards set by the national authorized agencies should be specific for the concern of public health. When the drinking water is of major concern, then the standards should be highly specific and it should be complied by all the countries and all the citizens. Thank you.